I wanted somebody that would understand me. I wanted someone that when I said to them what I had gone through, that I could have that shoulder to lean on, opposed to just like being judged.
When Linda moved from New York to live with family members in Florida, she found that person. At her new school, she met Rafael.
When I got to school that day, I saw a group of friends of mine, and I saw this new girl standing there, and I said, wow, that's a new girl. She's beautiful, you know. So I walked up to the crowd, and I introduced myself.
As soon as I looked at him, I said, wow, you know, it's like I liked him at first sight. It was like, you know, I wouldn't say love at first sight.
Linda and Rafael felt an instant connection and started spending time together.
It was just a lot of talking at first. We fell in love that way. You know, me pretty much airing out, you know, all my feelings, all my frustrations and stuff, and him doing the same thing, having gone through the life that he lived.
Rafael was coping with the loss of his mother. She was a drug addict and died from AIDS when he was 13. Linda had her own problems.
I looked to alcohol as a refuge due to everything that happened in my childhood. You know, with my father drinking, the domestic violence that was in the home. I was sexually abused at an early age.
But their troubles were just beginning. Linda was only 16 and Rafael 15 when she became pregnant.
There were people that would tell me, hey, you guys are too young to have a baby, get rid of it, don't worry about her. Women have raised kids by themselves before, and, you know, don't throw your future away. But I was set on it. I was like, I don't care what it takes. I'm going to stay with Linda, and I'm going to raise this baby, and we're going to have a family.
They moved to New York to live with Linda's family. After the baby was born, the young couple realized they weren't ready to settle down.
We would still go to the clubs. We would still go to the bars. So that life, you know, didn't change. Now it's like, now I had a friend, you know. Now I had somebody to join me at the clubs. You know, now I wasn't drinking by myself.
Just 3 months after the birth of their first son, Linda got pregnant again.
Because things were a little shaky at the time, we decided to just get married. We're like, okay, maybe it's time to make things right. Maybe that's why we're living this way, because we're not married.
Instead, they had more complications.
Things became very, very difficult. My stepfather had passed away, and we had custody of my brother, and we had 2 children.
Rafael worked hard to support his growing family. Then he met a man at work who made things even harder.
One day he invites me to his house for lunch, and he pulls out a bag of cocaine, and I was like, I don't do that. And I always vowed that I would never use drugs. So I was like, put that away. I don't, you know, do whatever you want, but I don't do that. About a week later, I don't know what happened, but we ended up in the same house, and he pulled it out this time, and this time I tried it. And from the first time I tried it, I was hooked. I was addicted.
Rafael's addiction grew. He was soon spending $500 a day on drugs.
That's why we lost everything, because every single dime would go into, you know, his habit. We would get income tax checks that would come in, sometimes $3,000, $4,000 or whatever. I never saw them.
It was a really bad situation, lying to my wife. I wouldn't come home. I would, you know, just from the time I would get up in the morning, I couldn't resist, you know, having it. So I'd go and do whatever it took to get it.
Linda became pregnant again, but she couldn't take it anymore, so she packed up the kids and left.
I arrived at my sister's house. He never followed me. He loved the drug more than he loved his family. That's how I saw it.
Linda realized that the only one who would love her and never leave her was God. She accepted Jesus as her Savior and began praying for Rafael. Then 3 months later, she saw a flyer advertising a revival.
It said on the top that if you need a miracle, come at 7:30.
And Linda needed a miracle to save her marriage. She convinced Rafael to come along.
We're sitting in the back, way in the back, in the center, and he stops and he starts he was going to preach his message, and then he stops and he says, you know what, I'm not going to preach yet, because there's somebody here that's tired of living the way they've been living, and the living God tells you today, if you give him a chance, your life will never be the same.
A lot of people came and they threw like boxes of cigarettes on the altar or whatever, and there was quite a few people in the front. But he kept insisting that the Lord was saying that there was still someone.
And he kept on and on until he finally just stood right in front of our section, and he said it straight. He said, somebody in this section, this is your day. Today is your day.
I was just praying and praying. And finally, when I opened up my eyes and I looked to the side, my husband was going to the front.
Raphael opened his heart to God and was immediately delivered from his drug addictions.
Instantly, I felt something change. I felt something right away. I said, whoa, something happened here. And I cried. I cried in front of that platform. And my life has never been the same. I mean, I haven't touched another drug, another drink since that day.
Raphael and Linda are now teaching their children about God's power and how He transformed their lives and brought them back together.
I'm so grateful when I see my family together. I'm so grateful. We've had our ups and our downs like any family, even after, being saved and everything else. But there's one thing that I think is the most important thing, is that I have them there. And I know that it's because of God. God is powerful. You give your life to God and God will take care of you.